Okay, we're going to start looking at Unit 7 on arrays here and talk about basic arrays. Um, if you go on to programming, you use arrays and array-like objects a lot. An array is a collection of elements or a collection of variables, and there are other ways of doing this. Later on, you'll learn about lists and maps and things like that. But we're going to start with the simplest type, the array here. We're just going to go to introduce it into this course, and then you'll continue reviewing this and learning more about it in the next course if you take CIS 2087, uh, Programming 2 with Java. So what is an array? So sometimes we'll want to store a set of variables kind of together. Maybe we keep track of a bunch of quiz scores, and we have quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, quiz 4, and we want to work with those. And sometimes if we want to use those quizzes in a for loop and print out each one, it's hard to do it without an array where we can look at these groups of variables that are all kind of linked together. Um, you also hear the term vector sometimes is talked about. Arrays are called a vector or a collection. And there are a set of variables linked together, so we often talk about each element in this vector in some way. So we can have a single variable like number of players, and it stores a single value. But if we declare an array, it can hold, we can say, let's say we want to store four things, the number of points per quarter, and we want to do it for 4 quarters. So we can have a variable that has 4 slots, and each of these slots has an index into it. So we can talk about that, and we'll look at that, how we reference this. Usually we would just reference it with a variable name, but with an array we add on this bracket. This is a square bracket, not a parenthesis or a brace, and another square bracket, and inside that we specify an index. And so if we say points per quarter and 3, that'll go down and give us this element here. And note that in computing, we always start numbering these with 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So the fourth one here is actually indexed with a 3 as we go. Another way of thinking about this metaphorically is like a single normal variable is just a truck with one container on it, and we can store one thing in that container. A train, especially a container train, has bunches of containers, and we can talk about this. So we can talk about this train, and we can talk about car 1, car 2, car 3, car 4, and a whole sequence of cars as we look at that. And again, we talk about this index into an array. So if we have a variable that's an array, we'll use this square bracket and then the index number and then the square bracket for that. So just a way of storing multiple values in your array value. So again, walk through this example here, and we'll be updating this code in different ways. So again, it'll ask you to do things manually, which the computer would do just to check your understanding here. So it'll say, update my items sub 0 or index 0 to 62. So this is the my items, is all these variables, and index 0 is just this first one here. So you would want to change that to be a 62 and update that. And then you can check that and go to the next one, and they'll say change it. And so just walk through, and you can again modify these, do what the instructions is. It's just kind of test if you can follow the logic of this. And then there's a set of questions here about arrays. So here they declared an array called people per day to track maybe attendance to an event. And so they declared this with 365 elements. So we can talk about people per day sub 0 or peoples per day sub 250. So that would be the person, the array index 250. So we have 265 elements in the array, and we can reference each one individually with this bracket called to get to the index. So see if you can work through that and understand this code, what this work means. So, and again, we mentioned earlier the index starts at 0. So if we have 10 elements in our array, they will index be 0 through 9 here. So the first element will be score list sub 0, the 0th element, or the first possible one, and the last one, the 10th element, will be score list sub 9, because we're starting with the index of 0. So this walks you through a couple questions trying to help you understand that. Okay, so that's the basics of arrays.